Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's happening inside pretty much every company, whether they know it or not. Shadow AI. It's this unseen engine, right? It's driving a massive surge in productivity. But it's also creating these huge, invisible risks that could literally bring a business to its knees.
So let me start with a question, one that I think should probably keep a few leaders up at night. For most, if you're being honest, the answer is no. And it's that uncertainty, that gap in knowledge that we're going to unpack right now. Okay, so let's all get on the same page here. When we say shadow AI, we're not just talking about someone using their personal chat GPT to help write an email. It's really the next evolution of shadow IT, but with AI now in the mix, the complexity and especially the potential for data loss is just exponentially higher.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to tackle this in 5 parts. First, we'll get a real sense of the scale of this hidden AI engine. Then, we'll look at the risks, that hidden balance sheet. We'll dig into why this is even happening, and then map out a smart way to govern it. And finally, we'll see how you can flip this entire threat into a massive opportunity.
So first up, just how widespread is this, really? Well, the numbers are kind of shocking.
A recent MIT report just uncovered what they call the Gen AI divide. And wow, it is massive. You've got over 90% of employees just going out and using AI tools on their own, while the super expensive, official projects their companies are launching are almost all failing to even get off the ground.
Just let that number sink in for a second. A 95% failure rate for official AI projects. Companies are pouring billions, with a B, into building these things with almost zero return. And that failure, it creates a huge vacuum that employees are just rushing to fill themselves.
And this right here forces a huge shift in how we think about this. Shadow AI isn't just people breaking the rules. It is a powerful, direct message. It's the most unfiltered market signal you could ever get from your own people, telling you exactly what they need to do their jobs better.
So what are the real-world consequences of all this hidden activity? Well, every single unapproved tool adds a new liability to this secret balance sheet, one that can have some absolutely devastating costs.
You know, the scariest part about shadow AI is how quickly one small thing can spiral out of control. A single, totally well-intentioned action, like an employee just pasting some client data into a public AI tool to get a quick summary, can set off a catastrophic chain reaction. All at once, it's a data leak, it's a compliance violation, and it's a loss of your intellectual property.
And make no mistake, we are not talking about trivial data here. We're talking about the absolute crown jewels of the company. Source code, private customer lists, M&A plans. A leak of any one of these things could mean millions in damages, huge regulatory fines, or just a total loss of your competitive edge.
So you have to ask, why on earth would employees take these kinds of massive risks? It's not out of malice. It's actually a completely rational choice, and it's driven by the huge gap between the tools they want and the tools they're actually given.
I mean, the choice becomes pretty obvious when you just look at the options side by side. For $20 a month, an employee gets a tool they already know how to use, it's fast, it's intuitive, and it gives them great results. Meanwhile, the official company tool costs millions, feels clunky and stiff, and just delivers a worse experience. They're just choosing the better product. It's that simple.
And this all points to a really fundamental flaw that MIT calls the learning gap. See, most of these official enterprise tools basically have amnesia. They can't learn from feedback, they can't remember context from 1 minute to the next. They force you to start from scratch every single time, and for complex work, that's not just inefficient, it's absolutely infuriating.
Okay, so we understand the problem, and we know why it's happening. So how do we actually fix it? The key is to stop reacting, stop panicking, and start building a smart, proactive strategy to govern it.
The first, and honestly the most important rule that all the experts agree on is this: you have to govern, not ban. Trying to just ban all AI tools is a losing battle. It doesn't actually stop the behavior, it just pushes it further into the shadows, where it's impossible to see, manage, or secure.
So that leads us to this really powerful 3-step playbook. Step 1. Use technology to actually visualize what's happening. See the tools people are using. Step 2. Analyze that data. Go talk to your employees and understand the why. And step 3, formalize the best stuff you find by providing official, secure alternatives. You're basically taking that grassroots innovation and turning it into a real corporate asset.
Now, to pull off that first step, getting visibility, you're going to need the right tech. We're talking about things like cloud access security brokers, or CASPs, which kind of act like a security checkpoint for all your cloud apps, and data loss prevention, or DLP, which scans for sensitive data going where it shouldn't. You put them together and you basically create a radar system for your network that makes all that invisible AI usage suddenly visible.
All right, let's get practical now. How do we take all this strategy and turn it into a concrete, actionable roadmap that you can actually use?
A really successful plan here relies on 3 pillars all working together. Think of it like a 3-legged stool. You need policy, the clear rules of the road. You need people, employees who are trained and aware of the risks. And you need the platform, the technical guardrails that actually enforce the rules. If you're missing any one of those legs, the whole thing's going to fall over.
And the absolute bedrock of this whole thing is a strong acceptable use policy, or AUP. But listen, this can't be some dense 10-page legal document that nobody reads. It has to be a simple, practical guide that clearly answers the most critical questions for every single employee. What's safe to use? What data can I absolutely never, ever put in there? And hey, what happens if I break the rules?
You know, this entire process is about so much more than just managing risk. It's about fundamentally changing the role of your IT and security teams. They get to evolve from being the department of no, the gatekeepers, to becoming real strategic partners to ask, okay, that's a great idea. How can we help you do that safely and at scale?
So this really leaves us with a fundamental choice. We can keep treating shadow AI as this terrifying liability that has to be stamped out at all costs, or we can see it for what it truly is, the most honest, unfiltered feedback you will ever get on what your organization needs to win. So is it a threat or is it a roadmap? How you answer that question is going to define your company's ability to thrive in the age of AI.